Test, test, test. Test, test, test. I'm gonna wait a few minutes. Do some other stuff. See if anybody comes through. Read this reading eventually, so if you're catching on this and you're wondering if I'm ever gonna do the reading, I'm gonna do the reading. But I'm gonna wait a minute. Hey, I'm trying to get back into the swing of things here. Nice. So I did a reading for tonight. I have a list of them to complete tomorrow. Well, tonight and tomorrow. Hopefully. My concentration has been restored enough that I'm good to go. And yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I can't complain. Getting used to it, you know, is different. Trying to not drink fast. You know, the first day, man, I was so, like, the first 2 days, 3 days even. Oh my God, I was so thirsty. Like, the thirstiest I've ever been in my whole life. And you can only drink so much. They give you limits. And I'm just like, what? They're like, yeah, no, you can only have this medicine cup for the next hour. And I'm like, give me more. Yeah, no, you're not allowed. So, yeah, I'm rolling a joint on Twitch. Because I want to. My homie brought me some good smoke. I don't usually smoke. I usually vape. But I like smoking a joint because I want to. I do have a good reading to do. Oh, you had some procedures yesterday? Hopefully that's progress and help for you in the right direction. it's amazing. It does get, you know, once you get into it, it gets easier, but like at first, boy, you're taking it easy. Taking it easy, because I was like, this is gonna hurt if I go too fast. My first sip was way too big, and it was just like sitting right there, and they're like, that's what we told you not to do. And I was like, oh, my bad. But I learned. Also, I learned that you just have to move. It digests better if you move. And thank you. Yeah, I feel pretty good. Water. Liquids, lots of liquids. So many fluids. But I lost the swelling weight already, and then a couple pounds, so I'm on my way. But yeah. So I have this this reading I did up that kind of fits perfectly with the 5-5 portal. The 5-5-5 manifesting portals, really about shutting some cycles down in order to make room for what it is that you really desire, because you're probably filling that space just because it's convenient and easy, and you know, all that good stuff. So yeah, I checked on the regulations, and apparently if it's legal where you are, it is legal on Twitch. Like, unless it like violates their thing. So I was like, oh, that's nice. I can smoke those. Great. Because I was gonna anyway. Yeah, I do a lot of hydrating, about every 5 minutes. But yeah, I feel really good, actually. Really good. Surprisingly good. So I'm excited. To like, I think I can make it to my first big goal by the 1st of June. So I'm gonna kick ass and see what I can do. But yeah, this reading is pretty dope, I think. I should have brought it a little bit closer. Bring it a little bit. A little snug. I should have been more organized tonight. Getting back into it. This is my first stream since before. I had so much going on. I was trying to get ready, and I just didn't have the energy and patience to deal with people. Also, because I was not eating food. So like not eating food for 2 weeks, and then I get like these random people drop in the chat and like just, you know, I was like, oh no. I don't know what kind of a tarot reader you thought I was, but I live in the hood. So we do things different around here. The middle-aged mom in the hood. That's my lifestyle. Yeah. I'm It is. I was out there yelling at the neighbors today because their dog keeps running in my yard, and Mooey has a spinal injury. So I can't let him outside, but occasionally I feel bad because he wants to go so bad, and it'll be nice out or whatever. So I'm like, okay, I'll carry him down the stairs, and then I have to keep him from running. The neighbors' dogs come running into my fucking yard up to the fence and get the dogs all riled up, and I keep telling them, keep the dog out of my yard. Like, seriously, like, I spent $5,000 on a fucking fence to keep my dogs in my yard. I don't want to hear any excuses. You know, I always let my joints go. I don't want to hear no excuses. I want you to put that dog on a leash and walk it around the yard and teach it what the fucking edges of the yard are so it quits running into my yard every time my dog's outside. Because my little dog's gonna go paralyzed if I can't get him to fucking heal from this injury. So they're stressing me out, so I'm out there yelling at him, keep your fucking dog here. With my joint. Mad. Shaking my fist at him. Oh, your dog isn't a babysitter for your child. But look, when I bought this house, it was like so quiet. It was so quiet. And we've had 3 new people move into the neighborhood. So the one right across from me, the one on the kitty corner, because I'm on a dead end corner, the corner lot of a dead end, I guess, like at the T. And then so the opposite T and then the end of the T are new people, and they have young children and no sense and no decency, and they have parties where they hire DJs to listen to white people 90s wedding reception rap, and not the good ones, the ones that are so overdone, like you've just seen so many like sloppy people dancing to them that you're just like, that's what they were listening to. It was awful, and I hate them. So I'm thinking about moving. I just put all that money into my house, and I'm like, fuck it, I'll do what I want. My son will run it over there. Is there a marijuana culture Twitch tag? I'm gonna look. Of course not. They should have one. Anyway, they should have one. Because I totally would indulge in pot and read tarot all night. Anyway, that's what I'm doing, I guess. So I proved that. Anyway, alright, so I'm gonna get started on this reading. Anybody who shows up late, I guess they missed out. I'm not going backwards. Foundation in this is the Princess of Pentacles. I love that card. I love the Pentacles because these are the more logical brained creations are thrown out the window with this. You have to dream a little bit beyond with the Pentacles. It's very kind of laborious work usually, and it's tangible labor, but it's always like sustainable. That's really what the key is here with this. It's got to be sustainable and kind of in tune with. You can't like force against the grain with the Pentacles. So with the Princess, she's kind of taken her imagination has launched. She's got some opportunities that she's looking at, some open land that she's nourishing and has been nourishing. She's been networking with others who share visions, and kind of building and creating this foundation to launch from. And it's all based in the same values. So all the values have to be in alignment. And if it doesn't feel like it's in alignment, doesn't feel like it matches your values, it's just not a part of it. Sometimes we create, we destroy little pieces of the things that we create because we find that they're either wasteful or they're not exactly what we wanted or whatever, and it's just problematic. So like, we don't want to hold on to stuff that's not actually valuable. We need to be resourceful. We're not squandering our resources here. This is really important that we take this opportunity to think smart about our resources. And it's all one step at a time. It's not no giant major I get it done push. It's one step at a time. You're kind of daydreaming the world into being. It's still in formation because you haven't fully defined it yet, and you're not supposed to. You're supposed to do it as you go, because because you have not yet released all your own personal limitations as to what is possible for you. You have some doubts and some maybes and some what ifs that kind of stop you. So this card pops up when it's time to really kind of be thinking on a much bigger scale, and it wants you to slow down and kind of think about what is impossible. Well, what do I think is impossible, and why do I think it's that? So that you can drop that, so you can dream bigger, so that you can allow, like, you have these ideas of what it might feel like. Allow the dream itself to clarify to you visually, and in symbolism you'll start to kind of get a picture of like what that might look and feel like. The steps kind of reveal themselves to you as you go, and then what was previously just ephemeral, just in the daydreams, starts to kind of coalesce. It's got to start with the feeling, and then you've got to allow the vision to take place and to create. Sometimes we can start with a small vision. We can start with like a small piece of what that is, and we say, well, this thing that I really enjoy would look like or feel like this. But beyond that, you don't want to like lock it down too much. You don't want to like put so much heavy detail into it, or look at a situation, because this is going to start with career and world, like lifestyle. I want to say like lifestyle because it's not just financial and career, it's more like your entire way of life, your entire way of being. But then it morphs into a new love starting, if you so choose it. So this is kind of like asking you to let go of any preconceived notions of what it might look like, or how it might go down, or all these different, like, because then you start thinking of like, well, you know, that could go wrong, or this could turn badly, and it just allows too much. There's just too much energy being put into details that don't matter. None of that matters. Just think about the stuff that matters. Think about the important pieces of it when you're visualizing, and don't try to like lock it in too deeply. You want to kind of leave it into the dream world and allow it to like form, and the steps to make sense, so that you're creating it as you go. So the Lizard Spirit and the Princess of Pentacles. This one's the fire position, so this is our ultimate will, and this is what we're looking for to occur. I can scroll down my notes here. Oh yeah, Six of Cups and the Rabbit. So what we're looking to accomplish here is coming from a different place than we have in the past. Now, in the past, you have reflected back on your youth, on the innocence of youth, and, you know, maybe found enough delight in it that it was worth a few more cycles. Like, it might be fun to do it again. And that can even happen fairly, you know, like all the way up until recently, where we've looked back at the patterns that we've used in the past, and how we've done things, how we've expressed ourselves, how we've moved energy, and saw this innocence, and know as well that it's full of ignorance. So this card, the Six of Cups, is saying, so we've come to a point now where, and we're starting to understand more, that there is still this innocence and wonder in life. It's still possible, even after all the harshness that's kind of drawn us away from it at times. We still know what's possible, that this is there, we can see it, and we know that we can't stay where we are. We have to continue growing. So instead of looking back, we're looking forward with innocence and wisdom. You're taking your knowledge with you, and you're applying that same wistful, like, anticipation. You know, it's kind of, it's not as much of an anxiousness as it is just a very nice feeling of looking forward to what's coming next. So this is also where we have to do some work. We also have to start to express and embrace some fears about this next thing that's coming for us, that we want but also maybe are a little afraid of. So we kind of start bringing them to light, and the way that we do that is by creating something. Sometimes you can use art in some way to create and express, writing, even just visualizing and manifesting in some way, or visualizing your next manifestation in some way will help to bring them forward so they can be transformed. We transform them and bring them out and bring them forward out into this world so that they become totems. And then it continues at that point. It continues to be more and more clear, because now it's in this more open space of awareness that you are in process of this creation and it's happening and you are in the midst of it. So you're getting these out into the world, and you're kind of allowing the imagination to have fun with the ideas and the potential. The rabbit spirit card that comes up with this one is talking about how the rabbit has a very safe space below this openness that is very easy and quick to get in there and not want to come back out. You want to run away. You want to hide. You don't want to actually like confront the thing you're afraid of, because this is shadow work that you're doing. Ultimately, it's you're working your way through one more piece of shadow work to make this manifestation happen, essentially. And the risk is being vulnerable, but you're co-creating something new with like this newest version of self. And it's probably going to be pretty dope. You just got to give it a chance to come out and actually like just allow yourself to go with it. So it recognizes though that like this is a life that you don't really have any experience with. You haven't actually had it work like this before. You don't exactly know how this works. You just have to know, and it just wants you to know that it's fruitful and productive, and that everything that you're working on is worthwhile, even if it feels very scary and vulnerable and new. You've never done it before, or maybe you're afraid of reception of it. Maybe you're afraid of your own personal revelations as a result of it. But you're going to find fertile ground. Whatever you're doing, you're going to find it. There's really no mistakes here. It's just kind of allowing things to spring to the surface as you go. So opening up that imagination faucet and just kind of letting things flow is probably going to be the most I think easy to access that first step in what's next. I've been really for sure, feeling youthful and playful is like exactly, but like knowing also that you're smarter than you were. You can still maintain that though, but like you can take that with you in a different way. And just kind of allowing the universe to take you what's next. I'm gonna mute me for a second here, just a second. Anyway. So that's all work stuff, right? That's like, well, lifestyle work, how we're spending our time, and energy creating in the world, and what we're doing. And where is my, there it is. then we get into the air position. Personally, the air position in my reading in this spread is kind of a surefire thing that we're going to be dealing with. So we can expect something of this nature to be applied to us, and it can be applied in different ways, and there's a number of ways to interpret it, but ideally Movie's getting up. Ideally we're looking at probably with the Two of Cups some kind of union with a proper match of some sort. Emerge with someone that creates that balance for you. So the uniting of two people under the Two of Cups is often, there is a power of intention there. There's like a conscious surrender to what's happening, and that power of creation is very useful. It's kind of a receiving and a giving energy. It continually moves and circulates and creates, and it begins inward. That's the trick part. Hey, Benna. So union with a twin flame, which I talked about in the twin flame, but just briefly because it's in the Two of Cups here, it begins inward. You have to kind of acknowledge and honor and respect the inner divine in order to acknowledge and respect and give space for the outer divine. I get hiccups a lot, sorry. But we have to pay attention to who we're spending our energy with and what they do to that energy when we're with them. If you have someone that you connect with where the energy grows, it feels stronger, it feels like there's more to it, you can accomplish anything, if it feels empowering, these are the people that we're supposed to be spending our time on. If you feel as though you are being taken from and there's no balance there, if you're both giving, you should both be empowered. So if there's a proper healthy fundamental there, it's both giving to each other to restore, as well as being able to restore the self, because we're a mirror of each other. If you're not getting that, what are you wasting your time with? So this is all about, this turtle spirit is all about doing what we need to be doing. It's not really telling you that there's anything that you have to do to complete this union with this counterbalance person that energizes and inspires you and is a part of your manifesting. You are actually one foot in front of the other already, and it's all in perfect timing. It's all kind of growing exponentially. Not just prosperity, but love and manifesting is all occurring. It just happens very slowly sometimes, and it's supposed to. Sometimes it feels like it's not moving, and it's also supposed to feel like that sometimes. It's going that slow sometimes. When it feels like it's that slow, when you feel like you're stagnant, like you know what's ahead for you, you know that there is a really, really amazing experience, relationship, bond in front of you, it's really easy to get impatient about it and just assume that it's just not working because it's not moving right now. And the message here is that you are supposed to be learning to crawl before you walk. You've never had a relationship like this before. You don't know how to do this. So stop trying to get there so fast and actually like learn the lessons along the way. And allow it to occur. Like surrender to that so that it just gives you the lessons. You see the next steps. It's all coming clear rather than like trying to force yourself to see it. It can tell when you're trying too hard, basically. So instead, you're supposed to be concentrating on your pace. What you're doing in the small moments also matters, and then the time passes. So if you're doing things that maybe don't feel like this like massive thing that you're doing right now, some massive effort, you're doing some little insignificant things, and you're like, well, I'm not doing enough. Well, actually, you probably are. That's probably what you're supposed to be doing right now. You don't necessarily have to be doing all the big things all at once. Or right away, or necessarily on your timeline at all. You're going to be aware of what's happening, and that's all that you really need. The speed is not going to matter. It's more about paying attention to what you're doing, being conscious about it, your thoughts especially. So true love and true success comes with patience. Patience. You only get the Two of Cups, twin flame match when it is right. It will come when it comes. You don't get to make it happen. It just doesn't work that way. But it's you can get obsessed about trying to like see how it could happen and coming up with potential scenarios, or trying to like dream of ways that it could, like ways that it could happen. But really all you're doing is limiting yourself to these couple of potential stories that you can come up with personally. And maybe the story that's about to happen is far better than your imagination. Maybe you should just be kind of throwing ideas out there of stuff that you might like and let it give you what you deserve. So instead, focus on what you think you deserve. Think you deserve more, then you should not be doubting what's coming by pushing it and forcing it along. If you're doing that, you're doubting it because you're trying to make it happen on your schedule instead of just trusting that it knew what it was doing in the first place. It's trying to make sure that you're ready for it so you don't fuck it up. Suburban slang. So yeah. Apparently I'm just gonna be the stony cursing tarot reader on Twitch, I guess. It's gonna be my niche. I'm fine with that. But yeah. Big good love. Do what you're supposed to be fucking doing though, man. Bullshit. Which bullshit. But like slow and steady wins the race. There's a sense of grace about the sea turtle that's just kind of like this ancient creature in the ocean just making its way in this vastness. There's a sense of grace about it. It doesn't have to know the destination. It has a general idea of which direction it's going, and it's just kind of enjoying the ride. It'll get there when it gets there. That's what you're supposed to be doing. That's what I mean when I say flow. That turtle is not like that turtle's just doing a turtle thing. There's no like, the turtle does not have like a GPS location locked into its brain. Now it might have a general vicinity of the direction it's going. It's following certain currents. Might be some sounds that it can hear. There's ways that it gets to certain destinations. But most of its life isn't just going from one place to another. Like, most of its life's just kind of floating around, living with other turtles. Maybe we should just be living amongst our turtles right now instead of, like, trying to fucking migrate. It's not time to migrate right now. So that's my one-liner of the evening. It's not fucking time to migrate right now. Alright, the next card, what shall we be dealing with, if we choose to, is actually that bringing those fears forward that we were talking about earlier, what you're actually wanting to do. this can come forward and we're willing to deal with it. We're gonna have the self-belief intact, the courage to do that. You're not giving up. You're just fighting your own mind again. But there is a lot of potential and possibility that is at the end of this if you can maintain that sense of resilience. Now, the resilience that we're talking about does not necessarily mean battle. We're not talking about going through battle and fighting it out for hours. Instead, we're talking about the resilience of not getting involved in the bullshit. This is my favorite one. I was like, you know what? Yeah, be observant of what's happening around you, but for the sake of gaining perspective, keep a neutral pace at this point. You don't need to come up with any answers. You're not the freaking problem solver. So especially if you're tempted to jump into something because you think you have something to add to it, the best way to serve the situation right now, the advice here, is to remain calm, watch and see instead. Back up and just let it happen. You actually want to be looking from different angles if you can, and looking for possibilities. And this card kind of indicates that when you do that, you're going to find a deeper understanding of what you personally are looking for and why. And so you're going to dig in. I freaking let it go out again. So the actual advice is actually pretty good too. This is actually a really positive reading, and I was looking forward to that because most of my readings have been telling me to not do stuff lately. This one's a little bit more at least I know that what I'm doing is actually what I'm supposed to be doing, and not having any real strong feelings about it either way, and just kind of being okay with how things go is really seems to be what propels things down the track a little bit better actually than me doing it. So yeah, the advice card here is the Nine of Pentacles and the Scarab Beetle. Nine of Pentacles, you are entirely in charge of your own destiny, and that meant that you had to formulate all these experiences and these skills and abilities and the wisdom that you've developed up until this point. It was a lot of work, and you're continually going to have to do it, but it also suggests that now is a time for actually reaping a little bit of that, some good fortune coming your way, and being able to just kind of naturally receive it. It's well-timed and appropriate, and everything just kind of falls into place. But it's also here to remind you, again, with what your own personal limitations might put on you as to what you're capable of and what you might want or what might look good. A lot of the things that I thought I wanted next are now very, I don't want to say they're cloudy, but per se not as clear. I don't necessarily feel like I have to limit myself. I also don't necessarily feel like I need to lock into any ideas of what that might be. A lot of the stuff that I decided before was based on my own fears about things and what I thought I deserved. And so I started kind of shutting my life down in a way rather than opening it up to possibility. I started to say, okay, well, I'm not going to use that channel over here. I'm not going to use this channel over here. I'm not going to use this. But what I should have just been doing is just I'm just going to leave it all intact and just go about my way. But I was limiting myself into potential that I didn't even consider at that point as me being interested in it. But now, for some reason, I feel like I could be interested in that potential. So, yeah, just try not to be too specific about what you want. I think when we express what we want, we feel what we want, we visualize what we want. But then when we overthink it, that's when we start like shutting down these other channels. Don't shut down the other channels. You don't know if that's going to work for you or not. Let the universe show you what fits there, what puzzle piece goes there. Maybe that puzzle piece hasn't arrived yet. You don't even know it exists. You haven't found it in the box. It has not been revealed to you at this point. You don't even know it exists, but that's the one that actually goes. You got to give it a chance to get there. And so yeah. So this also, the Nine of Pentacles is really kind of it's like a, hey, good job. Good job. You did a good job. We're going to give you some good stuff now, and then you're going to be able to continue forward with that. But this is like next generation motivation. It's like we're going to give you the good pat, and then we're going to, because we want you to keep going. That's why you got to have that resilience, because you're going to have to go through another cycle before you get like the big win, you know? So now we're really thinking beyond limitations. What would be absolutely amazing for you right now? Like thinking about claiming these scenarios, that situations, opportunities that you really want. What is it that you really truly feel? Be receptive and open, and dropping the self-doubt around that, and kind of looking at it like unrealized potential, and really giving yourself like a new challenge for the next round, because you're about to complete this one. So what's next? What's bigger than that? The Scarab Spirit is about allowing our creative energy to flow through us, through our imaginations, and create kind of from thin air. It comes to fruition through our feelings about it, our deserving about it, our allowing it to come to us. If you think I'm not ready for that, you're not ready for that. If you think I'm a little scared about what that might be, then that is exactly what you're feeling. If you say I'm ready for this feels right for me, I don't know what's next and I'm okay with it, but I feel like I'm ready for whatever's next, like just, all right, bring it on. Whatever happens, like, I guess it is what it is. That's when you're ready. So that's that very open, kind of just flowing with things. Whatever happens, happens. I don't need to control it. I don't need to know the details. I don't know the answers. It's fine. All the love, all the miracles, all the opportunities, all the abundance that I want can flow right to me if I think I deserve it, if I can allow it to come to me. And if I trust that everything that I need is going to be provided for, answers come, and the things fall into place as they need to. I always had a policy when I had my tattoo shop where I would, if I needed a bill, I would like just imagine like the amount of money that I needed to pay the bill, plus have just a little bit left over, you know, so I wasn't totally broke. So I'd figure out an amount, and it would just be like, I would just over and over just like say thank you for that perfect amount showing up at the perfect time, and like visualize myself with the receipt for the bill. I didn't know how I was going to pay it or where the money was going to come from. I wasn't imagining the scenarios on how I got the money. I wasn't visualizing a certain client walking through the door, because that was what was limiting me. If I did that, I was overthinking the situation. But instead, if I would just think, it doesn't matter how it comes, as long as it comes. As long as I have $250 today, it does not matter where the $250 comes. Sometimes that $250 would show up in, you know, a deposit that you weren't expecting, or, you know, somebody would buy a gift certificate that you weren't expecting, or a big jewelry sale, or, you know, something else. You never knew what was going to happen and where it was going to come from. but it just always seemed to work. I never ever had a situation where it didn't work out. Went for years and years and years like that, but then I realized what I was doing was actually limiting myself, because I was never really giving myself the potential opportunity to get beyond the day-to-day. I had enough to pay the bills and a little extra. So I wasn't like dreaming big enough, right? So this next cycle was more about like having more than that, having more than just the basics covered, having a little bit to mess with, a little bit, little wiggle room. And so now I'm trying to work past that into a bigger place of abundance where I'm comfortable and able to be generous. And so the new cycle of manifesting here is about being so comfortable that I'm able to be as generous as I would like. And that feels a lot less limiting, because I don't know what that looks like, but I know that means that my needs must be met, and all the basics are covered, and probably not too broke. If I have enough to give, then I definitely have enough for myself. And so that's the new feeling that I've been working with, and it seems to be just kind of being like, no, that's just how it is. That's just how I live now. And the work comes, and the things fall into place, and the opportunities are slowly appearing. It definitely feels like the beginning of it. It's definitely the beginning of May. We're not in the midst of this quite yet. But, you know, it is what it is. Yeah, that's what I've been doing today. It's my reading for the day. We've got to work through these blockages, these personal blockages now. Less obstacles from other sources and more about the interpersonal blockages that are keeping you from really bringing your desires to fruition. The pushing too hard is probably, it's really just like kind of doing what you're doing and not overthinking it more than anything. Do the thing has to be modified. Sometimes do the thing means the thing is to stop overthinking. So do not do the thing. The thing is not doing a thing. At least for some people. For me, that means staying on my fucking business, and I want to poke and prod. I want attention. I want, I don't know why. It's a thing that I have to work through. It's, I need the acknowledgement and the praise. And I go a little bit without getting it. And then I'm just like, but I feel right now, I actually feel pretty good. Like, I feel like I don't need it. Like, I know it still applies from the last time. So I'm like, okay, this is okay. I can work with this. But also, wanting to poke and push for things that we have to allow to occur. Hello, Phantom. I don't set up all those fancy things. I don't really. I try to use them, but it's just really. It just really doesn't become necessary for me most of the time. But if you'd like a few cards pulled, I will gladly pull some cards for you. And sorry, I'm just clearing through. I mean, you know, please read me. You get a lot of people that just like demand readers throw cards out for them, and like, yeah, we're here for a certain point to do that also, but like this isn't just throwing cards out. What is it that you're trying to look for in guidance? What's the aim of this? Or is it really just trying to see if you're going to get a different answer when you know what the answer is? You know. Yeah, I'll pull a... I don't do readings on who's going to come your way. Love readings are all about you preparing yourself for the love. Because that's all in feeling. You should be feeling who the attraction is. But if there's a challenge there, then the challenge, or if it feels like it's not going in a certain direction, then it's probably that way because there's some personal block or something that you're not personally doing. Let's see. I don't do full-on readings when I'm live. I just do cards. So, let's see what comes up. See if it gives you any specific messages on what you should be doing. So the sun, Five of Pentacles. This is more of a past, present, future. Starting off with the sun, there's a lot of potential. There's a lot of hope and optimism. Optimism and hope should not be like directly placed on any one outcome. It should just be a general, however things are going, it's going to work out right. So a specific attachment is generally going to be a disappointment. Now there is some disappointment there that's showing in the Five of Pentacles. So if I would read this, that the person that you're potentially thinking is going to last like long term, probably not long term. Does that mean that there's nothing there? No, you could definitely have some kind of a short term thing with this person, and it could be fun, and it could be something that you learn from if you go about it the right way. But it seems like there's going to be something that doesn't quite communicate. There's going to be a clash somewhere along the line. So that 5 is some disappointment in the situation and kind of not ending out with the long-term outlook that you're looking for. However, the 6 of Wands suggests that there's a really quick recovery here. You actually kind of come out of it a little bit more clear on what you're actually looking for, what you're actually trying to bring in, attract in for love, what you need personally and desire personally in a relationship is going to come out of that. So if the potential there is, if it feels good, if you go with the flow and something happens, there's nothing to be looked at in a negative way in that. It's just recognize that it might not end out the way. So just don't have expectations of it. You know, Just don't have the expectations. Just be like, let's see what happens. Cool. The no expectations is going to reduce the disappointment, because you kind of knew that it wasn't necessarily going to be like forever. That's fine. That's really when you open yourself up to possibilities, because now you've like changed that energy that you're putting out there. That's going to change what you draw in next. So then when you come out of the situation at the end of it, the energy that you come out of it with is a lot more clear. It's a lot more direct. You know that you have all these possibilities, and you've got a lot better picture of what it is that you're looking for. And then you're gonna probably find a lot more success at that point. So then you're gonna probably see yourself a little bit closer. Always working on the inner, honoring the inner feminine space as well as the inner masculine, especially for a Gemini, is important, because your inner feminine and how you treat your inner feminine characteristics and energy is reflected outward. So that kind of helps you if you kind of try to project yourself in a mirrored situation where you're both going to be reflecting ultimately the twin flame that you're looking for, the one that works. You're going to be reflecting outward. So in order to match them, you're going to find you'll find somebody, you might be drawn to them, and then you'll say, oh, this isn't like a good reflection here. There might be some conflict. You might go, oh, I wasn't ready to see that. I didn't want to see that. So sometimes we go, that's not the one. The one that works is the one that you go, okay, but I can work with this. All right, I can, okay. And you're kind of bettering each other. You're helping each other do better self-work is the better way to say it. Self-work, it's your own work. But the right twin that's a right match for you is going to make you want to do it for yourself. So if this one doesn't necessarily feel like that, no big deal. No big thing. Yeah, it definitely makes a difference with all that like energy that you're putting up out there, trying to get solid with that. Let me get a little hoarse here. Totally not for sure. If anyone else is interested in listening to some or having a card or two pulled, you can kind of think about, like, you don't have to tell me a subject matter. You can just think about something that you are personally wanting guidance in, and I'll draw a few cards for you. We'll see what they have to say. Sometimes they're mean, though. Well, they're not always mean. They're just realistic. They're very matter of fact. These cards are always matter of fact, which is why they work good for short reads. Because sometimes we don't want to get all into that. So how we know how that works. Like the long story of why Nikki doesn't do love spells anymore. Ever again. Not for nothing. That is a trap. It's not worth it. Alright, we reset here. I do need to do some longer readings. Yeah, no, we don't do love spell. I have done some in the past and they've turned out very bad. Very bad. They were so bad. Oh my god. Why did I do that? I just dragged on an inevitable ending. And then it happened over and over with like other relationships. like I was just like cursed into repeating the same experience until I made sure to know that I will never fuck with that again. You can't force anything. You cannot change who you are to get someone to love you. You have to be authentic. You have to be who you are. All that happens, a love spell is no different than like putting on a facade for somebody. That's why so many relationships fail, because that first year is all about like being really cutesy. Or in my situation, a lot of my past experiences were like this like people pleaser trauma response. So it was always just like, let me be like the most ideal person for you, and let me demonstrate how I am. But that just, then you kind of get resentful because you're not, like, you have to hold up this facade in order to get that response, and there's no authentic connection there because you didn't start with it, you didn't allow it. So it's better to have no expectations, to have no necessary idea of what comes out of anything, even if it feels really certain. Even if, especially when it feels really certain, that's when you let go even more. You'd be like, oh, that feels really, well, I don't know, it might. I'm really, like, I feel like I'm getting a lot better at that. At, like, being like, not having this super emotional connection to like the outcome of something, and just being able to go about my day-to-day life without like obsessing over it. That was something I just struggled with a lot. I feel like I'm doing a lot better. I'm gonna eat my chewable medication. But yeah. Not feeling the love there, huh? Well, sometimes we gotta burn shit. I like burning shit. I had a whole bag that I would keep. I just randomly pick a few things, burn them. Why not? Fuck them. I want it out of my space. I want the energy out of my space. That's the best way to do it, right there. Oh, but you know what I did one time? This was a little bit elaborate. I was really kind of impressed with myself. I somehow ended up with a vanity plate. That was not, I had nothing to do with, but it was symbolic of the problem. And I was like, well, I feel like I need to destroy this. Like, I don't know how I ended up with it, but like when I came to my realization that it was there in my possession, I was just like, I don't want to keep this. I need to destroy it. I'm gonna get rid of it. But it's a license plate. I went and bought muriatic acid and fucking dissolved it in a tray. I was like, oh, I'll destroy it one way or another. I can't burn it. That's fine. I will dissolve it. But it worked really good because it really did have this like freeing, like it kind of like dispersed out effect. Nah, fuck that. I'm gonna destroy it. I probably wouldn't do that today. I probably would just be like, I'll just bury it, you know, like I'm just way lazier now. But yeah, I bought muriatic acid and dissolved a license plate because it just felt right. But it worked. I'm not affected by that. That was a really hard one. That was the relationship that was perfect, and it was going really well. It wasn't perfect, but it was going really well. And then his wife came back. So it was like, oh, sometimes you could be in love and your relationship can be really great and it ends anyway. Have fun. So it was like, that was a harsh lesson, man. That's what I'm saying though about not having expectations, because then you don't have that like attachment to the outcome. You don't know what's gonna happen. You can have a really fucking awesome relationship and shit can happen, and it doesn't end that way, and it might suck. But if you weren't sitting there like defining yourself based on the ending of your story, like you don't know what the end of the story is, so why define yourself based on that? Instead, people really think I'm crazy, I think, because I just change careers and shit randomly, but like, no, what the fuck I'm doing or what I like. How do I know? Sometimes I didn't really get to experience everything yet. There's so much more. Why should I limit myself? It's because they're bored, or they want to be boring. I don't want to be boring. I want to do more stuff. I'm still, still waiting for my romantic proposal. I haven't had that yet. So no, don't do that. Don't do that. No, yeah. Their relationship, like he was legally separated, and she had left the city, and she left the kids with him, and like had literally she was estranged. And we had been together for like a year, and they got in contact to do taxes, and he didn't think it was possible, but I guess she asked if he wanted to talk, and he was like, yeah. Yeah, I can get my wife back. I like my wife back. And he's like, I'm really sorry about this, because he's like, I know, like, I have feelings for you. It was so like, no, it's so, I used to cry about it all the time, because it was just like, really? Like, you still not good enough? But then I realized, like, it didn't have anything to do with me. It didn't have anything to do with me not being good enough. I absolutely was good enough, and I was good enough for that. And in fact, I was able to learn from that, and I'm able to look now at, they've been together ever since. They never got a divorce. For the sake of those kids, that was what was supposed to happen. Those kids needed their mom, and I wasn't going to be their mom. So the situation with the kids was weird. So I didn't want to get involved in that, but it worked out the way it was supposed to. But it sucked at the time. It was hard to get over at the time, because it was just like, I had just gotten over these really shitty relationships that were obviously going to fail because they were bad. Obviously these people didn't love me because they treated me like shit. So it was like, oh, okay, well, this obviously, is not going to work out. But then you get in one that's going well and everything is working out, and this person treats you like a queen, like literally treats you like a queen. Ouch. Let's still kick him in the shin for that one. But other than that, I'll let him slide. He was nice about it. He did the best he could. He really did. So I have no anger there. But yeah. Recently had a reminder of one of my more toxic past relationships. So bad. There's been a number of them, but one of them in particular, I drove by his sometimes I have to be careful because I don't know who's gonna pop on and check them, so I don't want to call people out. But anyway, I drove past an area that reminded me of them. and thought about how our relationship was. It was so bad, so like codependent. We were both like using each other to avoid actual acknowledgement of our personal feelings. Our personal failings. So yeah, it was messy. And that's the one that I used the love spell in. I haven't here. I just thought, you always think that you can fix it, but you can't fix it. All you can do is fix yourself. You can only focus on yourself. You gotta love yourself harder. If you feel, and it's not to say that you shouldn't like reflect that outward in dealing with the problems of the relationship. That's to say that if you're not getting that back, then you need to bring it back here, and this is the only thing that matters. You can't engage yourself in all that bullshit because it's just going to bring you down, and then you're not going to feel good about yourself. You're not going to feel deserving. You're not, and you'll get stuck in that relationship because now you're just in it. But instead, if you focus back on the self and go, okay, I'm going to step back and worry about me right now, that person has to either face themselves or they're going to be out of your way. They're either going to figure it out and better themselves and come back and be like, all right, you're right, cool, all right, we're good. Or they're going to be like, I don't even know how to fucking come back from this, and they're going to be gone. So that's really what you're looking for anyway. I'm only interested in a relationship with the type of person that can step back and handle their shit and say, like, I need to step back and handle my shit. Or you hurt me and I don't know how to communicate that right now and I need some time, or whatever. I want them to be speak to me, and then step back and handle your shit so that we can communicate and fix stuff. We can't do that. I'm not fighting with nobody. I ain't fighting with nobody. There will be no arguments. I'm not doing it. We will have discussions though. I think I feel like I deserve that because I'm the type of person that gives so much in a relationship, and I know that what I have to offer is good, and like somebody can, like, I'm not the type of person that's like, I don't change people anymore. I don't try to change them. I don't try to evolve. They either want to do it for themselves or whatever. Like, I'll try to encourage them. But I'm the kind of encouragement that, like, if you really ain't trying to hear it, you're going to be like, that lady is a bitch, and they're going to leave. So, yeah, no, the basic rules of engagement is really where we're at. There's just so many people that, like, play these games. They don't have communication. They don't make any effort to communicate. And it's really just, the practices. The practice is where it's really important. But yeah, I just don't have, I'm too old for that shit. But I am, like, about, like, if I can get that mutual respect and love and admiration, like, I'm down for whatever. Like, and I didn't think I'd ever say that. I thought I had a lot more restrictions on what I was down for, and apparently I'm just like, that doesn't sound like a bad idea. That could be fun. I've had some weird dreams lately. I've had some really weird dreams lately. And so right now I'm just living in the moment. Smoking weed on Twitch. And reading tarot. I'm not going to stay on long though, because I did just want to get on here and get back in the groove, because I definitely was slacking. I had to, like, get back in after surgery. But I feel good though, feeling real good, and about to I guess I gotta get back focused on some work. I got a bunch of messages. Like I'm streaming and then everybody sends me messages. Bless them. I try to get some more of this protein in anyway. I'm getting close to my goals every day, but I'm a little bit shy. A little bit shy every day so far. I got I should be okay by next week though for my follow-up. I think I'll be good. I'm looking for the advanced to the puree, so I think I'll be good for that. Like, it feels good. I just gotta keep following the rules and be good to go. But yeah, I'm gonna bust out for tonight then, and thank you for joining. Hey Benna, hope you have a good evening. And Suburban Slang, have a good evening. I will I have one for you coming. If I don't, I'm gonna try to finish it tonight. If I don't finish it tonight, I'll be finishing it tomorrow, early in the day for sure. But, I don't know, that reading felt pretty good. So sometimes after I have pain medication, I feel like I struggle a little bit to connect. So that's another reason why I like quickly cut out pain meds and get back to it. So feel better. All right, much love to you. I will hit you this weekend if you're around. I'm gonna try to pop on a few times this weekend, maybe change it up a little bit. I don't want to do Sunday nights anymore. I'm thinking about Sunday morning or early afternoon because Sunday nights are rough for me. After June, I think I don't have the baby on Monday and Tuesday mornings, and then my son's done with school, but right now I have to get up at like 7 o'clock. At 7 a.m. on Monday morning. It's my norm. And it sucks to go to bed at like midnight. So we'll try something different. But yeah. Alright, I'm gonna bust out and try to work on some of these readings. I'll talk to you soon.